Expert reveals how to deal with narcissists at home and at work. This is from Ohio State University. In a new paper, an expert highlights the importance of recognizing the signs. Dealing with narcissistic individuals in your personal life can be challenging, but the most effective strategy might also be the hardest to follow, according to Amy Brunell, psychology professor at Ohio State University Mansfield campus, who has studied narcissism for over 2 decades. The key, Brunell advises, is to recognize narcissistic tendencies early on and remove such individuals from your life. However, this can be tricky because narcissists often appear charming and likable at the start of a relationship. Still, there are usually subtle warning signs that should not be overlooked. If you're in a new relationship and you're getting the vibe that this person is narcissistic, the best thing you can do is get out, Brunell said. It's hard to do when they flatter you and pay so much attention to you. Identify narcissistic traits. In an invited circle, an article published recently in the journal Cambridge Elements, Brunell discussed what scientists have learned about how to understand and cope with narcissists in personal and workplace relationships. While researchers have identified different types of narcissism, all of them have the core characteristic of entitlement, self-centeredness, and a lack of empathy for others, Brunell said. The most recognizable type to most people might be the agentic grandiose narcissism, which is characterized by high self-esteem, extroversion, arrogance, and dominance. This type is the one that can sweep people off their feet at first. People are surprised when I say this, but when I meet someone who is very charming and outgoing, I am on alert, she said. There are people who are charming and likable who are not narcissists for me, for sure, but from my experience studying narcissists, I think it's wise to be aware and protect yourself. Even early on, there may be signs of narcissism, such as a lack of empathy, a need for constant attention and admiration, taking advantage of others, and accept expectations of special favors without reciprocation. One thing can be on the lookout for, Brunell said, to be lookout for is what has been called love bombing, which often takes the form of excessive flattery, gift buying, and overwhelming attention early in a relationship. While this may seem wonderful at the beginning, it does not last. Love bombing is a manipulative tactic that narcissists use to control a romantic partner. It's great until it isn't, and often then it seems too far into a relationship to break it off. That's why it's best to look for these signs early, she said. Coping with long-term narcissistic relationships. For those already in long-term relationships with narcissistic people, there has been new research in recent years which may offer some help. One study, for instance, found that people who were asked to take someone else's perspective in a situation were more empathetic, even those who were narcissistic. Another study found that when narcissists recalled a time when they showed concern, love, or acceptance for another person, their narcissism declined over time. These lines of research and others like them show promise and suggest that narcissists do not lack the ability to change their ways for the better, she said, but it remains unknown how long such positive effects last or how it works outside the laboratory. These offer some hope, but we don't know yet whether these tactics will work in the real world. People also are likely to run into narcissists at work, which can be particularly problematic. If they are your bosses or supervisors, narcissistic bosses are often aggressive and bullying, take credit from their employees, and dominate resources that are needed by others to do their jobs, she said. Brunell said it's often best to work through formal processes provided by your employer to deal with a narcissistic boss. Employee assistance programs and human resource offices can help. Of course, that may not work in every organization. Yeah, because your boss can turn around and fire you, obviously. Narcissist leaders often succeed because of their charm and aggressiveness in getting things done. Even if they wear out their welcome at one company, their success can often help them land another job. But what employees can do is to make sure they have clear boundaries in the relationship with narcissistic leaders. She said, if you have an appointment, go in, get what you need, and get out. Do what you need to manage the situation without any extra engagement. And just like in personal relationships, it's often best to get out. Simply transfer within the company or leave the job if that's possible. Brunel noted, while there has been a lot of research on narcissists, Brunel said there is still a lack of solid information on how to deal with them. Obviously, you can't. They're just going to go after you if you try to. Now, people encounter narcissists all the time. I said that because of my relationship, my knowledge of how they act, my experience. Now, but we need more research, she said, on best practices for interacting with them day to day. There's a lot of good practical advice, but we don't know how well it works yet. So this is from SciTech Daily by Ohio State University. Please leave your comments and thank you for your support. Please support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.